I'm a parent as well, so there's nothing more important than my children's development. Coaching quality has to be, top notch. There's no doubt. Now,
Yeah.
historically, English youth players are still probably the best in the world.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sporting Spree. My name is Ankit. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Baichung Bhutia Football Schools. Today, we have with us a very special guest. He's Amit, who is the CEO of Complete Sporting Solutions. Amit has been in this industry of tours and camps for players and professional players, specifically in football, for over 20 years now. And we've had a very good relationship with Amit and his team. And we thank you for coming on board and giving us your time to talk about the player development camps that BBFS is organizing in the UK in the near future. So to start with, maybe Amit, you can give a quick introduction about yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Ankit. Thanks for having me. It's been a very long process. Been working in sports and travel for maybe 20, 25 years now. We cross talent management, international collaborations, and we've obviously been organizing football training experiences for young players for a very long time. My company's based across 6 countries now. So we do take, from grassroots all the way to the elite level. We take teams to come and train and play at some of the best clubs, on the planet. Um, and obviously that's what led to our association with BBFS, as I believe we have a shared vision and shared values about creating pathways for, young players, not just to hone their skills, but to give them some life-changing experiences through football.
Yeah, great. Thank you for joining us. And yes, I would like to thank you because of you guys, we've had a chance to partner with one of the most premier English Premier League clubs, Southampton FC, where we are doing these player development camps so that our players can get the kind of experience that young talent in the UK gets, and they can get an idea about what is it like to be part of a Premier League youth setup. So, I mean, that seems to be the long-term vision for us, and we definitely want our players to get that kind of experience. So, I think the first question I would like to ask you, because that is something that is on the minds of the parents, is why do we have to go for such kind of development camps?
Oh, it's a really good question, one that we get asked a lot, especially by parents. I'm a parent as well, so there's nothing more important than my children's development. So we find experiences like this, the benefits are immense. Not only will your players get access to world-class facilities, high quality coaching, but it's really drilled down and tailored to their individual needs. Countries like the UK, clubs have been training children, they train really young, especially here in the UK. And it doesn't take them that long to actually see where the need is to take them to the next step. They'll get exposure to different styles of play. They'll obviously get pushed because the training standards are exceptional standard, in a club like Southampton. But they'll also learn a lot about teamwork, becoming independent, and to become a bit more adaptable. And all these qualities we find, really helps them on and off the pitch. Clubs like Southampton have a huge history in developing young talent. So it's quite a unique proposition for parents to send their children to a club like Southampton because it can give them, a step up against other children that may be in the same age group or age categories, or even their peers. They may play at a different club. To come on a, camp like this is truly, it is unique, and it can help them to reach, as I said, the next level.
Okay, thank you. And I think in the last few years, we've seen a lot of our parents traveling abroad quite regularly during the holidays. And many of them do participate in some kind of camp here and there. There are a lot of companies who are organizing such things. So, any particular reason why, the players should opt for this particular camp? What makes it a little unique, and what is the kind of value that the parents can see in such a camp as opposed to any other?
Yeah. Um, I guess parents should really look at camps who have a strong track record in player development, first and foremost. And a
Yeah,
club like Southampton is still one of the best in the world. The players they've, developed from the age of 5 all the way up through the ranks. I mean, they're unparalleled in that field, especially, even still in the UK. They have that vast track record. So it's really important to work and for me to work with reputed clubs, especially from
yeah,
grassroots level, because they really know what they're doing and they will actually create tailored programs for an individual. Because at the end of the day, each player is different,
yeah,
each player has different needs, and not all clubs are good at that. So the reputation and track record is very important. And then the next part is the quality. The coaching quality has to be, top notch. There's no doubt. Yes, every club has its place, and I've got a lot of respect for all the clubs, that we particularly work with. But Southampton in particular, when it comes to working with, children from, the age of 5, let's say up to, your under 19s, they really capture what's needed. And that I think parents should hold a lot of value in because they are going to gain a lot. The children are going to be able to see, and I guess the coaches will see and sort of hone their talent, whatever talent they have currently, but
yeah.
also guide them. There'll really be a lot of hand holding, even in a short space of time. These coaches have been working for a very long time. So there'll be a lot of hand holding, and they can actually create a structured plan for, their next steps
Yeah,
in
I
their
think
career.
that is something that Andy and Tom had touched upon when they were in India and when they met
Yeah.
the coaches and the players. That, any player going for a camp like this, the journey doesn't end with the camp.
No,
I think you can talk more about what is the kind of assessment, because he mentioned there'll be assessments and then there'll be the kind of growth path that they will set for each player, in consultation with our Indian coaches, because they are going to speak to the coaches regularly as part of our association. So maybe we can
that's
touch a
right.
bit about that as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, these camps, it's not just coming just for training. As I touched on earlier, they foster independence, confidence, in themselves, but also gives them a bit more of a global perspective. And what I mean by that is essentially they'll be playing and training with and against English players. Now,
Yeah.
historically, English youth players are still probably the best in the world because they play more
Mm.
matches. I mentioned the coaching standards, but somewhere like Southampton, we're very fortunate, and is part of the association with BBFS and Southampton, is that the access is very unique. So
Yeah.
the children are going to be in that Southampton Academy environment, surrounded by other Southampton Academy players. They're going to be trained by official coaches, which isn't always the case at other clubs. A lot
Yeah.
of other clubs don't want to give them any disservice whatsoever, but they're usually trained by foundation coaches. At Southampton, you're going to be trained by actual academy coaches who have trained, some of their all-time greats. And when Tom and Andy talk about, getting them to the next level, the training will improve technical, tactical skills, but it can also be a stepping stone for potential pathway for when they're 18 and above. There are various scholarships available in multiple countries, not just the UK. Could be college applications where they want to study sport, but play sport, play football at the same time. And a club like Southampton, again, I talk about their uniqueness. They're very open to providing those opportunities and building those opportunities. One of the first conversations I had with the club about India was it's such a vast place. Football is increasing like no tomorrow. We know cricket
Yeah.
is, a huge sport, but at youth level, I've never seen so much football played in India, and Southampton are aware of that. And because they're very well positioned to give children these opportunities, which I don't think any other clubs do at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. Because we've been organizing as BVFS, we've been organizing camps for quite a while. We've been going to various European countries to give exposure to our players. But specifically when it comes to a camp like this, I think that's going to be really helpful for players because a lot of parents ask us that in the longer run, say when like you touched upon how such kind of camps can help these players with college applications. So this is one thing that we've noticed. Many of our players who've traveled with us during these camps in the past, they've become more independent. I can recollect one example where one player who traveled with us for almost 6 or 7 such camps in the past was able to independently go to the US and
Yeah,
be a part of some summer internships, which eventually led him to join a very good university. So I
yeah,
think that that opens a lot of gates for the players when they're looking at a career beyond India after class 12. So
yeah.
can you touch upon a bit about those scholars things because that is something that our parents ask a lot about. What is the way forward from class 12 if they want to send their kids, say, to Europe or the US?
Of course. So the thing about these camps, what we find, and we do hundreds every year, is just by giving them that taste um, of a professional football culture, it really fixes their mindset. And it's not all about everyone's technical ability. Hard work is 50% of it, and having that mindset is, a huge percentage of it. But to have the parents' support, um, I think, plays a huge factor in any child's development in the game. To the point where if, you mentioned this example of, you had this player, he's come for 6, 7 camps. I mean, if he didn't do that, he would never know what is possible.
Yep.
They're not all going to be your Lionel Messi's and Ronaldo's, but there is a place for everyone, and there's a lot of opportunities within that. College is really interesting. So we have placed multiple players, we do it every year for the past decade where they study and they play at the same time. And I think for parents was important, yes, education, very important, but couple that with, pursuing their dreams is also as important, it's equally weighted. Um, to have a player to come and study and play is incredibly hard on them,
Yeah.
no doubt. It's a full-time, 7 days a week activation where they got to study, train, study, train, study, train. But a lot of players find a lot of value out of it. Now, hand on heart, not all make it. But by having that strong educational base, there's always a way for them to work within football. Maybe becoming a player is not possible for everyone, but everyone should have an opportunity to work in the industry like we do.
Yeah.
Um, I wasn't a great footballer, but came round and ended up luckily working in the industry, which has been you know incredible journey for myself. But I think what the parents should understand is that the educational pathway is there. They can play, they can study. Um, whether they make it in the professional game, that's to be seen. But we'll certainly give them the tools to do it. And having the exposure to these camps really opens the network. Um, I guess it helps players develop a more well-rounded identity and I guess vision as to what they want to do and how they can actually accomplish it. And we're here to support that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I recollect a conversation with the same player who went to the US, saying that one of the reasons he's been there, he's now there, is because of BPFS. And I was a little surprised because he's gone on a like a proper engineering course. So I asked him that why do you feel that way? Because he said that the kind of exposure I got by coming for tournaments and camps really opened my eyes. And when I was able to go there, I think he went to Stanford. when he went there, I think he was fairly confident to stay independent and to perform during those internship periods that he was there as a summer intern. So I think while players do talk about, or the parents do worry about the academics, it is more about the mentality. Their
Yeah.
mentality to perform or to live independently or to be comfortable with an alien environment. I think that's something where such kind of camps can really help them, right? So one question that we get pretty often is that why a 7 day camp? Because people tend to say that, well, how much can I learn within 7 days? Why not say a longer camp, a month or 2 months or even a summer? So I think we also had such questions in the past where the parents, are not sure that should they be investing in a project like this where they are going for 7 days, or you can touch about upon, especially for the ones who are going for the first time, that why is this like a stepping stone for other things?
Okay, we get asked that a lot, and I think the simplest answer is a lot of these players they haven't traveled. Um,
Yeah,
so to go as a group and as part of a team as their first experience, um, it helps build their confidence. They grow
mm,
a little bit because they're traveling. I guess not alone independently, but to be part of the team. We
yeah,
find in the first instance, it really does help. Um, it gives them a flavor of what they can do. I think also in a team environment, it certainly helps them with general camaraderie with their teammates. They obviously, we have to have some element of fun because it should be a fun um, experience as well. And I find with short-term programs like this, the week or 10 days, they do gain a lot out of that. I've seen children, they go, they come back, they're standing 10 feet taller. They've only been away for a week, but they've never been away from
yeah,
home ever
yes,
in their lives. So just to have that taste rather than jumping in and saying, well, I want to go for a year. We've seen that happen at times and children come back, after a couple of weeks because, they're not used to it. They've never had that experience from the first time.
yeah,
So it is a good sort of, dip your toe in the water, have that wonderful experience, enjoy the training, have those interactions with international, players, especially in the UK. Um, I don't want to keep saying it, but we're incredibly lucky what we have with Southampton because of the access they are giving is unlike
yeah,
many other clubs. Um, But I think the short term or short answer is, a lot of them haven't been away. So just by having that first time, it really helps. And then from that, we'll build it. And
yeah,
if parents do want to send them for longer term, then that's obviously a discussion we have after. But we also can't forget that these are young children
yeah,
and they do need and it does help them to have a positive experience. As I said, I've had experiences with individuals, they come for a year, they leave early, they don't enjoy it. The ones we find that do, you know, pursue a long-term career or pathway, let's say, they're the ones that come for the short term in the first instance. They enjoy it, they know what to expect and they go running because they come for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, and they really develop themselves a lot quicker um, than if they just jump in with 2 feet and say they want to come for 1 year straight away.
yeah. I mean, we face the same thing, and in our residential academies, we do suggest our players to come for a few days, stay in the campus, get the
Yeah,
feel of the place, and then
yeah,
commit for a longer term. So I think
yeah,
that's always a safer strategy to play.
yeah.
Anyway, let's talk a bit more about, what are the fun elements in the camp. You're talking about fun elements. Let's talk about what can we see as part of this camp. What can the parents and the players look forward to?
First and foremost, we love to have parents to join it. It's always
Okay.
nice to have them with us on the trips. There's a lot of fun elements. One, obviously, the travel itself is great. I love
Yeah,
to travel, and part of that whole process is just getting ready and going with your teammates and getting everything together from, meeting at the airport and doing the whole trip, and, experiencing a new country. Um, there are certain elements within the Southampton camp which are very special. First and foremost is where they train. So they're training in academy stroke first team facilities, which again is very unique for Southampton to give that access, because BBFS is an official partner. They
yeah,
obviously are giving the best access possible. So they're in and around first team training facilities. They have one of the most high tech, up to date, latest, whatever you want to call it, training camps in Southampton. It's probably one of the best in the Premier League now. There's first team players there, in and out, in and out. So they got a chance to meet some of these guys when they're there. They have a wonderful dome indoor facility.
yeah,
Um, Now we're looking at some nice weather when the teams come, but England being England,
yeah,
it's it could rain, it could be cold, we don't know, as part of the experience, but they do have opportunities to play in these wonderful indoor modern domes as well. They're really treated like first team players, from the minute they touch down. Um, they will be looked after and as, one of the guys who are playing Premier League day in, day out. They're going to use the same facilities. They're going to have the same training sessions, albeit to their level. But they're going to be really in and around that whole environment, which is really important. Other parts of it is obviously they're going to see behind the scenes of the
yeah,
stadium. It's a wonderful stadium. So you'll see where the players get changed, their dressing rooms, what they do, and what's the rituals. They'll understand that a little bit more when they see and feel it, as a first teamer would. But also, they get a real behind the scenes look at the club itself. It's a wonderful stadium. There's
mm,
so many elements, not just the pitch and the training rooms, but part of the whole tour of the stadium is the history of the club.
yeah,
It's very important to learn that and see some of the stars, that have been in and out of their ranks.
yeah,
So they get a good flavour of that. Um, One of the nicest parts, obviously, one part I really enjoy personally is go watch a live game. There's nothing like it in the Premier
wow, a
League. Is
Premier
now,
League game.
yeah. So the Premier League is obviously the number one league, in my opinion, in the world
Yeah,
now. And for the kids to come and watch that and enjoy that, I mean, there's nothing like it to have that match day experience. And because of their part of obviously BBFS group, there's going to be some special parts to that as well, which we like to surprise and delight at times. So
yeah,
there'll be a
yeah.
few
Let's
surprises
keep
for the
something
kids.
hidden.
Yeah, we should, I think. So the players get a chance to obviously watch some of their heroes on the pitch. Watching a live Premier League game is, like nothing else. They get to see them stepping onto iconic pitch. For many young kids to see that for the first time, it's a dream come true because they tend to see it on television, but to see it live, there's nothing like it. It really is an awe-inspiring moment which will stay with them forever, but also hopefully inspire them, to see how far they can push themselves. And it's always
Yeah, I
lovely to see
mean,
kids do that.
I'd be the first person to tell you that because I've been watching the Premier League since what 1998, if I'm not wrong, and it was 2018, the first time I ever went to Wembley to
Yeah,
see Liverpool play Tottenham
yeah,
when the Tottenham Stadium was getting revamped. So I got a chance to see the Premier League at the Wembley, and
great.
it was magical. I mean, there's nothing like watching it on TV.
Yeah,
So it took me 20 years to reach there, but luckily for our players, I mean, they would get to see it well before it's,
yeah,
20 years too late.
yeah,
And the good thing, and thanks to you guys and thanks to the Southampton guys, the camps are scheduled in a way that they will get to see either, Southampton play Manchester City or I
yes,
think Southampton playing Arsenal. That's
Yes,
going to be, a treat for the
yeah,
players. And you're an Arsenal fan, so it's
I
going to
am.
be a great thing. And that too on the final day. The Arsenal game is on the final day. So I think somebody who goes on the final day and it's a title clincher in some way, because it
Yeah,
can be really, both City and
absolutely.
Arsenal. So that
Yeah.
way it's a great experience for the players as well.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
There's some really nice elements of it. You mentioned what's fun about it. I think for the parents to be there with their children as well, to experience that, it's very enjoyable.
Yeah.
So I think, the players, they should, come with good um, mindsets, mentally, they don't have to worry about anything. We touched on why a short camp coming as a group is always nice. They should approach the camp with an open mind, uh, be ready to learn and adapt. It's important that they show a lot of enthusiasm for these new experiences because it's going to last them, for the rest of their careers. One
Yeah.
thing I wanted to say, Ankit, as well, just to touch on, is the actual training. Element that they will receive because every player, and this is very unique to what Southampton do, is they will actually have a training manual per se per player, which will actually note and um, create like a document on what they've done, what their level is, what they need to improve on, how their coaches back home can actually help them with on the pitch. Because it's not just do the camp and then we're finished and then we move on. It's very much a developmental plan pathway. So the Southampton coaches will obviously see them live in Southampton, and then that will continue all the way to when they go back to training with their own coaches back in India. And it's a
Yeah.
really important part of the whole partnership that these players have that not just the exposure, but they're going to be looked after, along their whole pathway from start to finish, from when the camp
Yeah.
start, even when they get back home.
Yeah, I think so. There is a proper legacy to a
Yes,
camp like this, right? So, because when they come back to India, our Indian coaches are anyways going to be speaking to the Southampton guys as part of the coach education program. And I think they can continue the journey of the players' growth and those conversations with them. And anyways, we are also planning to have the Southampton coaches come to India for
yes,
Indian camps later. So I think that can be a great way to do a refresher for these players as they attend the camps in India as well in
yeah.
future. So I
I
think,
think that's
uh,
sorry,
yeah,
sorry to
please go ahead.
interrupt, but that's the opportunity they have to grow
Yeah,
as a player. Um, Part of these trips, and we see many children do these trips, and we have done for many years. Not all clubs will offer this same journey, let's say, from
yeah,
start and then a continuous progress back home. That's what makes this unique with Southampton and BBFS, that continuation. Players generally need that repetition, repetition, repetition in training, in learning, in training and learning. And that's what they'll get, coupled with, having being trained and let's say managed by, some of the best youth development coaches in the world, which Southampton have.
yeah,
So that's a
agreed.
really, I think, good takeaway for parents to have as well.
Yeah. And talking about parents, you said that you love to invite parents. So,
Yeah, always.
uh, I mean, I think that's a great way to see it like, it can be a holiday for the parents as well.
Yeah,
Because going to a
absolutely.
place like the UK with the players as well as, getting to experience all of that, I think we are also arranging the same kind of experience, the match day experience, the
Yes.
Premier League game for the parents as well, in case they are
Yeah,
keen. So I think they can be a great
absolutely.
holiday for the parents as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, always. Yeah. We love having parents there, put their minds at ease, that whilst the kids are training, if they wanted to do something else, they're more than able to do that. And we can obviously provide options and guide them if they want to go and see certain things whilst they're in the city. But yeah, it's always nice when we have the entire families travel together, because they get to see, their children in action, let's say, which is a really nice part of it. And then the match day experiences, it's a wonderful thing to be together. I have two girls. I wish they'd come and watch football with me, but they're just not into it at the moment. So for parents to actually, take their sons and daughters to a game, I mean, there's nothing like it. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I got to travel the first time abroad when I was maybe in my 20s. But I can tell you for a fact that, one international travel, it was just for maybe 12 days for my work, gave me the exposure that I couldn't get maybe even in 4 years of college. So that is the
Yeah,
level of impact. And because
it does.
it lasted with me for so many years,
Yeah,
even after that. So that is the kind of impact you can get. Even a small trip like this, especially for the first timers,
yeah,
done at an early age, can really be helpful in opening their minds.
I
So, and
agree.
and the good thing is that you guys are also inviting parents, so even the younger kids, 10, 11, 12 year olds, they can also
Yeah,
travel with
yeah,
their parents. So yeah, I mean, we really look forward to these camps, and thank you again for organizing this, because
pleasure.
I don't think this is possible without your support. And we look forward for our parents and our kids to seeing you in the UK in May.
Brilliant. We
Uh,
look forward to it as well. Thank you very much.
all right, thank you, Amit. I'll speak to you
Thanks for
soon.
the
Bye
invite
bye.
today. Take
All
care.
right, thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.